During 1917, the Russian Revolution started causing a rise of panic in America, relating to communism and socialism taking over American society and policies right after World War I, and would continue all the way to 1920 with the May Day incident, which would cause widespread chaos among the nation, but would thankfully be the end in 1947. After the Second World War, where the term McCarthyism would be well known after its main advocate, Senator Joseph McCarthy, and the spread of communism beliefs would start to cause fear and tensions in America, which wouldn't end all the way until 1957, during the Cold War. These periods in time would be referred to as the First and Second Red Scare, with the first one being the worst of the two. Before the first Red Scare started, America had been facing tension and fear since the Great World War was still an ongoing battle that America was taking part in. During the war, the Bolshevik Revolution, which was also known as the October Revolution in Russia, would be known as the critical sparking point of the Red Scare and a big time in Russian history, as the revolution caused many people from Russia, Southern and Eastern Europe to immigrate to America for safety, as the Bolsheviks would take over the Russian government, which would end the Russian Revolution, but would be the creation of the Soviet Union. Many Americans feared the Russian and European immigrants, which would cause them to show massive oppression and distrust towards them out of fear that they would overthrow the American government.
In 1918, the American government would create the Sedition Act and the Immigration Act of 1918. The Sedition Act was aimed to criminalize any acts of disloyalty or criticism towards the government, while the Immigration Act was used to enable the deportation of any immigrants that mainly targeted anarchists and communists. While these two acts were made to make America safer again during this time, instead, when combined, these acts would be highly abused as if it would justify the oppression against Russian and European immigrants, and it would let the government justify the mass deportations of innocent people for having any relation to people who had anarchist or communist beliefs, even if they didn't believe it themselves. This would only leave less than 400,000 Russian and European immigrants out of the 3 million that originally immigrated to America. The rest of the people that weren't able to be deported would still face racial injustice as if they were publicly blacklisted, which would negatively affect their lives.
It's safe to say that 1919 would become the most critical year of the Red Scare in America, yet as an outbreak of racial violence, known as the Red Summer, would occur and would affect at least 26 different cities across America. This event would most likely be caused by the racial tension across the U.S. after the discharge of millions of military personnel back to their homes after World War I had officially ended, during which many white supremacists would terrorize and cause many racial riots, which would kill hundreds of people while severely injuring thousands more. The committee would conduct many hearings diving into Bolshevik propaganda from February 11th all the way to March 10th of 1919, and would develop an alarming image of Bolshevism as a leading threat to the U.S. government and American values, which would make what happened next the most pivotal event yet in the Red Scare.
The ending of the Great Red Scare would soon come to a head, as in April many packages containing bombs were sent all across the U.S. to prominent politicians. Many more were timed to arrive on May Day, which would cause mass chaos and fear among the nation, and would also cause widespread unrest and riots related to labor activism. This would pique concerns with J. Edgar Hoover, who would tell the nation to prepare for a bloody uprising upon May Day, and would cause tension as people feared for the worst. But yet May Day would pass without incident, which would cause public opinion and courts to turn against Palmer, and would finally put an end to his raids and the Great Red Scare. Although the Red Scare occurred decades ago, today the fear that produced during that time remains a powerful force in American politics, as terms like socialism and communism are still used as political weapons.
Kamala went full communist. You heard that? She went full communist. She wants to destroy our country.
And any highly opinionated talks about economic justice are met with suspicion and high alert.